So today I'm talking about my first ever course launch, okay? My first ever online course launch and the lessons that I learnt during my first ever online course launch, okay? And some of these lessons some of these lessons are what can be seen as positive, I guess, things that went right and things that I've gone on to do again and again. And some of these lessons are things that didn't go so right, didn't quite go to plan. Maybe, could be seen as mistakes, as failures, yeah? And therefore, I was able to learn from those things and not do those same things again and again. But mostly, when we're looking at the lessons that we have when we go through things, the lessons that come up, we learn from the things that don't quite go to plan. Yeah, we learn from the mistakes, or at least we should learn from the mistakes. And I've got to say that I'm, grateful for the mistakes that I've made in my business. I'm truly grateful. And I know that I'll make many more mistakes as the days and the weeks and the months pass. And I actually embrace it. I embrace the mistakes. Embrace the mistakes. It's a really excellent mindset to have. And I think, as we continue moving forward in our business, we must be prepared to take risks, and risk taking and making mistakes really go hand in hand. So the positives to making mistakes is that they help us to learn quickly, and they help us to take action quickly. And I'm totally okay with that. I want to be able to learn quickly in my business and to be able to take action. And if you think about the opposite to that, the opposite is procrastination. It's feeling stuck. It's being overwhelmed with decision making or feeling unsure what step to take next. Have we been there? I've certainly been there. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have been there. And it's part of the parcel, isn't it, of running a business. There are going to be times where we feel overwhelmed and we feel stuck. And I think, making mistakes and learning from those mistakes and taking action as a result of those mistakes is a much better place to be, isn't it? It's a much better place to be because we're moving forward. So I think for all of you, I want all of you, first of all, to get into this mindset of being okay with making mistakes. Can I get a thumbs up on that? Are we okay with making mistakes? Give me some feedback, guys. For those of you on Facebook in the group and those of you here on Instagram, are we okay with making mistakes? Because we need to be. We need to be okay with making mistakes in our business. So have I got a deal? Is there a deal here? Oh, yes. Here we go, guys. Yeah, I'm just looking at the comments here on Facebook. Brilliant. Yes, thumbs up. Well done. So I think, one of the things that I love most about being here with you guys is that I get to share my lessons and mistakes so that you can take that easier and that quicker route. Yeah. And that's what we want. We want to be moving forward quickly. And you don't have to make the mistakes that I've made, right? You can make your own mistakes, and I encourage you to make your own mistakes. Yeah. We want to embrace it. And that's okay. That's okay. It's okay to make mistakes along the way. You will. And if you can see those mistakes and failures in a new light, then you're going to keep moving forward with those lessons under your belt. And that's a really good place to be. So that's what today's training is about. That's what today's training is about. And I have a little surprise for you as well, because I'm not just sharing the lessons from my first launch. I'm also going to share lessons from my second launch as well, okay? And it's not really surprising that the mistakes and failures and lessons from launch number one, so my first ever launch, were perhaps some of the more kind of negative lessons, that I've learned. And then, some of the more positive lessons came from launch number two, because obviously I'd learned the mistakes from launch number one. So So that's what I'm going to be talking you through today in today's training. Okay, so let's just start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning. So anybody who's new here, any newbies in this community today watching me, any newbies, share with me if you're a newbie. So for those of you who are new to the community and perhaps don't know my story, I'm just going to give you a little summary. So my background is actually in marketing. Hey, Jem. My background's in marketing and marketing management. I'd worked managing teams, marketing teams for about 15 or so years. In 2015, I did my yoga teacher training. Okay, I set up my other business, Good Yoga Life, at the end of 2015. I left my well-paid marketing job and then set up my classes and events here in London, set up retreats. That business is still running today. Then in January 2017, so a few years ago, I finally set up Digital Yoga Academy. And this was after having the idea for about 2 years. So I actually had the idea when I did my yoga teacher training and I had my one marketing lesson. And I realized that there was a gap in business and marketing education in the yoga industry. So in January 2017, I started work on my website. It's the first thing I did, got to work on that. And as I went through that process of building my website, I also built my first online course, which is a course on how to build your yoga website with WordPress. Okay. So by March, so a couple of months after, the website had been built and the course had been built. I launched the course. This is my first ever launch, and no one bought it. No one bought the course. Of course they didn't. Yeah, no one was there. There was no one there to buy the course. And this was a fundamental mistake in that I put all of my effort and energy into creating my online course without first creating my community. Yeah, I didn't build my community. I didn't grow a community of yoga teachers like you guys here today. And of course I did that because I was excited, yeah? And I know lots of you who are wanting to create an online yoga course. You guys are excited about it, right? Am I right? Are you excited about it? And I bet if I ask you what's the first thing that you want to do, I bet the answer is that you want to create the course, yeah? Am I right? Tell me, give me some feedback. Give me some feedback here, guys. Tell me. So I was excited like you guys are. You know, I was excited and I'd made the decision to finally get this business off the ground. I knew that I wanted to be online. You know, I'd built a successful business with Good Yoga Life. I'd been growing that for about 1.5 years by this point. But I knew that there was a ceiling to what I could earn in that business. And you know, I wanted to create digital assets. I wanted to have an online course, an asset that I could launch again and again, and it would allow me to really scale my business and create more income, more freedom, and more impact. Okay. I also love to travel. I know lots of you guys love traveling. So I really didn't want to be location dependent, you know, and so going online was the way to do it. And I guess it was inevitable that my passion for marketing and entrepreneurship and building businesses and yoga and sharing those passions with people like you would come together. So that's really, you know, how Digital Yoga Academy came about. But I was so excited to finally get this off the ground that I jumped straight first into creating my course. So the main lesson really is that I didn't grow my community. You know, there wasn't actually anybody there. But there's more to it than that. There's more to it than that. Because I had no community, I didn't know who my ideal student was. Yeah. Because I had no community, I wasn't able to validate my course idea. And of course, because I had no community, nobody bought the course, right? So the lessons here are in that, you know, not knowing who your ideal student is a big mistake, yeah? It's really a foundational element of building our business. You know, we need to know who our students are. We need to know who our customers are, right? And we need to do that inner work to understand their characteristics, to understand what drives them, what motivates them, to understand what they're struggling with, what their challenges are. And we need this information because that's what we're going to use to actually create the offerings that we're going to put out there into the world. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, guys, over here on Instagram? Is this making sense? And on Facebook, is it making sense to you guys? I hope so. So yeah, so, you know, we need this information to be able to create offerings that we're not just going to put out there in the world, but offerings that we're actually going to fill, right? We want students in our offerings, right? So when we have a community, when we've actually done the work to grow the community, we can listen to that community. We can listen to people, right? We can listen to our students. We can understand. We can develop ideas for our online course, and then we can validate those ideas with our community to ensure that we're really on the right track, and to ensure that when we put our heart and soul into actually creating the online yoga course that we want to put out there, that it's actually something that people want, and it's something that people need. Okay, that's really important. You don't want to be creating something that people don't actually want or need. And when you've done that work to actually validate your course idea, there's confidence that comes with that. There's confidence and clarity that comes with that. So we need to get feedback. Yeah, we need to get feedback. And of course, I didn't do that. You know, I didn't do that in the beginning. So I didn't see these comments coming in. Yes, 100%. Yes, exactly. So I didn't have any feedback. You know, I didn't do the surveys. I didn't have any of these kind of face-to-face discussions that I have now, or calls that I do over the phone with teachers like you to validate my ideas. I hadn't done any of that work. You know, I wasn't able to really explore my ideas with my ideal student. And remember that big companies spend millions doing this, right? And there's reason for it. You know, big companies like what I've worked in the past, you know, they have customer research departments, you know, they have product development teams. There's teams of people whose jobs revolve around customer research so that they can develop the products and services that people actually want, that their customers actually want. So this is data-driven marketing, right? I've always been big on this stuff, and I really encourage you guys to also be including this kind of work in your projects and in your course development. And whilst you might not have a team to do this, you know, a customer research team or millions of pounds or dollars to do this, you can still do it in your own way. There's tools out there. There's tools and platforms like SurveyMonkey, or, you know, there's tools on social media. There's features on social media like questions and stickers in Instagram stories, or kind of polls where you can ask questions in your Facebook groups. There's ways for you to also gather information. You don't need to spend millions on this. So, you know, essentially, I created a course, and I didn't really know if anyone actually wanted or needed it. Yeah, I didn't know. Now, that particular course has since gone on to generate thousands of course revenue in my business, but only after I'd then gone on and built my community and gone on to launch the course in the right way, because there's a framework to launching. You know, I didn't have that framework back then. That framework, it includes launch phases, you know, launch phases and strategies that allow you to nurture and convert your audience. Yeah. And of course, you know, without an audience, without a community, you can't implement and roll out those launch phases. So those were some of the biggest lessons in terms of kind of mistakes or failures. I don't really like to say the word failure, because I think everything is just part of the journey that you're going on. You know, everything is just a lesson that you can learn from. but those were some of the kind of more kind of things that didn't go quite to plan, lessons in as part of my first launch. And a more positive lesson from my first ever course launch was the success of having structure, yeah, in how I actually created the course. So, you know, I created a plan for myself. You know, I set deadlines, milestones for getting the course creation work underway and completed. And, you know, I think things like having an outline, you know, sitting down and really working out the outline for your course and structuring it, and, you know, the scripting and the recording and the editing and the uploading and, you know, creating workbooks, all of these kind of parts of the course creation process need to be in a plan. You need to put all of this stuff in a plan, and you need to give yourself deadlines to work towards so that you stay on track. And that's something that I did do from the very beginning. And having that structure just meant that I was more able to finish my course, yeah, in the time that I'd allocated. So I think it was around 6 weeks that I'd allocated, you know, whilst also running Good Yoga Life and teaching yoga classes here in London and creating my website at the same time. So, you know, it's so important because I know lots of you also have other things going on. You know, you might have another job, you might have children, you know, you might have tons of other kind of things pulling at you. And so it's important to be structured with this. So that's definitely a positive lesson, something that worked really well. And, you know, I think with this is, you know, a project like this, it's easy for a project like this to kind of drag on because it's a big project. But when you've completed it and you've done it and you've created your course, you've created that asset, haven't you? You created the asset in your business. So, you know, again, that's why, because you are creating an asset, that's another reason why you need to validate it, why you need to validate those ideas before you go and create the content, because it's hard work, guys. You know, this isn't just, we're just teaching a Zoom class here. We're actually creating an online course that's going to take someone from A to B and going to lead them towards that transformation. So, you know, you want to come out the other side with a community who are waiting for your course. Yeah, that's something that I didn't do. You want to come out the other side with a community that you've qualified throughout the launch phases, throughout that framework that I talked about. You know, you've qualified them as ideal students for your course. And, you know, they've kind of almost put their hands up to say that they're interested in this topic, yeah, because you've had a lead magnet that's related to the course topic. So you've done that whole process of moving people through a through a funnel, basically. You've attracted them with your lead magnet, you've nurtured them using various strategies, and you've converted them, yeah? So I didn't do that, okay? So what we're doing here is we're creating an asset, and we're creating an asset in our business that's been validated, and we've built a community who are lining up for it. So that's what we're actually looking to achieve in this process. And I certainly didn't do that in my first course launch. Okay. So lessons there from launch number 1. And as I said, the little bonus here today is that I'm going to give you some lessons from launch number 2 as well. So this is the launch that followed. So by this point, we're kind of March 2017, March, April 2017. And I quickly realized that I needed to change direction. You know, I needed to focus on growing my community. So in the April of 2017, I set up the Facebook group. So the group I'm talking into right now, yeah, I set this group up in April 2017. And that's just over 3 years ago. You know, of course, I started with 0. There's now over 13,000 teachers inside the group. And what I did is I created an opt-in freebie to grow my email list. And this was a 30-day social media plan. Yeah. I set myself up on ConvertKit, which is my email software that I still use today. I also set up Lead Pages, which is the landing page software that I use. And of course I had Teachable, yeah, for hosting my website course that no one had bought, right? So that I had that as well. So I was spending money, like I was spending money on tools and software and systems, and I had no money coming in at this stage. And so that's another lesson. And you might think it's a negative lesson, but it's not. It's a positive lesson. It's a positive one, that we need to be prepared to invest in order to grow. Okay, there was months and months that my outgoings were more than what I had coming in. Yeah, months where I had zero coming in, but I had hundreds of dollars going out. And I truly believe that if you know in your heart that this online course is what you need to put out there, and you're really committed to this, like you're committed to this goal and mission, and it's your kind of purpose in life to put this out there into the world, you feel it in your bones kind of thing, that you want to create an impact, essentially you want to create a big impact with your online course, then investing is a necessity. Yeah, we have to get over this block. And I know it's a mindset block we all have in the beginning, and it's okay. The thing with mindset blocks and these kind of limiting beliefs is the first step is to recognize it. Yeah, is to recognize it and to see why it's an issue and to see how it's holding us back. And you know, I think when it comes to investing into ourselves and our business, the knowledge that it's going to pay off, you know, if it's something you feel in your bones and you know this is your purpose and you're committed to it, you're not going to give up until you get it right, that it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off in the long run. It's going to come back to you. And this really is mindset. You know, we need to be prepared to take risks in order to grow. Oopsie, one sec, I've just done something wrong here. We need to take risks in order to grow our business. So whether that's, you know, our education, whether it's team members, whether it's software, whether it's Facebook ads, you know, otherwise we're going to hold ourselves back. And I think, you know, processes and systems in our business, having those systems in our business allow us to grow, but they come with a cost. Okay, so that's something to think about. You know, that's something to think about right now if you're wondering whether you need to invest in this system that's going to make your life so much easier. You know, we want to be automating our businesses, guys. Okay, so back to launch number 2. So I was growing my email list and I was growing my Facebook group little by little. I was experimenting. I was seeing my business as a laboratory. Yeah, things are going to get a little bit messy. I was also listening. I was getting feedback from the teachers that were coming into my community. I had a survey that I was doing. I was understanding the struggles, and I quickly realized that email marketing was something that teachers didn't understand, right? They knew that they needed to be doing something, but they didn't really know how to start with it, or, you know, they felt stuck when it came to, you know, what do I write in a newsletter and so on. So in the June of 2017, I created MailChimp Mastery. And in July, I launched that course. Okay, and I'm going to talk you through that course launch. So what I did to launch that course is I created a 7-day challenge called Email Marketing Kickoff. Some of you may have even signed up for that in the past. Okay, when I launched it, it was a live challenge. Yeah, so I've since made that 7-day challenge available, but you can join it at any time. So this is why I'm saying some of you may have even been in the live launch. Who knows? But I was creating this challenge, this 7-day challenge, and we were all going to do it at the same time. It was going to happen inside the Facebook group. So I launched this challenge to my email list, and at the time had 317 teachers on my list. Yeah, there's now 15,000 teachers on the list. But at the time, July 2017, I sent an email out to my email list So these are people who had been signing up for that 30-day social media plan or had signed up for some other freebies that I was experimenting with. And I launched the challenge to my list on the 5th of July. Okay, I dug into ConvertKit earlier to have a look at this. And in fact, bear with me 1 second. Let me see if I've got it. Oh no, I've not got it up now. That's a shame. I had to shut down my computer earlier. So I launched with an email to my list of 317 people and to share with them that I was going to be doing this challenge. And then a few days later, on the 8th of July, 3 years ago today, I sent another email out to my list to say exactly what was going to be taking place during this 7-day challenge. And in the end, the challenge was starting on the 22nd of July. So I gave myself a couple of weeks to push it. And in the end, 355 teachers signed up. Okay, so some of those people would have been some of the subscribers already on my list, and some of them were subscribers that had just joined my list because of the challenge that I was running. Okay, so on the 22nd of July, I launched the challenge inside the Facebook group, and then I went live every day for 7 days. Okay, so I did a video every day for 7 days. And at the end of the 7 days, I launched MailChimp Mastery, and 14 people signed up for the course. Okay, it was a $97 course. So that's actually a 4% conversion rate. And when it comes to online course launches, an average kind of industry for online education, this is industry conversion rate is around 2%, 2 to 5%. So I knew I was onto something, right? 4% of the people who had signed up for my challenge had then gone on and enrolled in the course. I knew I was onto something. It was my first win, my first big win. And at the time, you know, I knew that it was something that I could work with, right? It's something I could improve on and develop. And I've since gone on to launch many courses, guys, many courses, because as I said, I see my business as a laboratory. So I've tried lots of different things out. You know, I've launched courses that are not available today. I've just been going for it, taking action, taking risks, making mistakes along the way and knowing it's okay. And I've gone on to launch many courses, and over the years, over this time of learning and listening, I've realized what my community actually need from me are courses where, you know, there's real group accountability, there's coaching, there's live elements from me. So things like, you know, my 3-month coaching programs, the 6-month coaching program, like the Profitable Yoga Teacher, which some of you guys are in. You know, these programs, or the you know, the immersion programs, the 7-day immersion programs where we do a lot in a quick amount of time. And you know, when it comes to like the Profitable Yoga Teacher program, for instance, the last 3 launches of that particular program have generated around between 50 and 60K per launch. So this is only from learning the framework, right? This is from learning the steps, understanding what steps are required to successfully create and launch a program, an online course. It's hard work. Yeah, it's hard work. And consistency is really important. It's really important. Imagine if I'd given up after I'd created my website course and nobody bought it. Yeah, imagine if I'd given up. You know, imagine if I thought, oh, well, I've done this now and it didn't work. I wouldn't be here today talking with you today. You know, consistency is so important. And what might seem like really insignificant when it's done once can actually become quite significant when it's done again and again and again and again consistently. So, you know, consistency in itself is a big lesson. You know, it's something that we all need to really embrace. You know, we need to be consistent, and it's difficult to be consistent when you don't have a framework or when you don't have accountability. So this is what I've learned from you know, having the kind of home study courses or the self-paced courses. Yeah, so my first launch, my first course was a self-paced launch. Sorry, so I'm just answering a question here. The first course launch that flopped was a self-study course, okay? But it did go on to bring revenue into my business once I understood what the framework was to actually launch these courses. But for me personally, I've had way more success with live launches, courses that involve live elements from me, you know, live coaching, courses where there's, you know, you're together in a community and you're going through the content together. There's that community aspect, there's accountability. Those types of courses have been way more successful in my business. And that's really where my focus is. That's where my focus is, you know? And so when you have those things around you, when you have a framework, when you have consistency, it's easier to be, when you have accountability, it's easier for you to be consistent. It's not enough just to set goals, you know, we need to have daily habits, yeah, that drive us, that move us towards the goals that we've set for ourselves. And, you know, when you've set yourself a goal in your business to create an online yoga course, what you need is a framework that's going to propel you in that direction and the support and accountability that's going to move you towards your goal. So the other thing to mention here is and it comes hand in hand with consistency, is being persistent. Yeah, persistent. Because launching an online course is not a get rich quick scheme. Yeah, yes, you can make a lot of money in your business when you get it right. It takes time to get it right. Okay, you're not going to have six-figure launch on your first course launch. Yeah, you might not even make 5K, you know, it might just be 1,000, and that's okay. Maybe it's a few hundred, that's okay as well. Like, it's a starting point is what we need, right? So are these launches based on Jeff Walker's formula? I know who Jeff Walker is, and I've definitely read a lot of his, I've got his book actually, so I know exactly, yeah, kind of, yeah, I'd say so. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, it comes down to attracting, nurturing and converting in the most simplest forms. To move people through your funnel, you need strategies, marketing strategies that are going to attract people. You need marketing strategies that are going to nurture your community, and then you need strategies to convert your community. Yeah. But it comes with a lot of learning. It comes with a lot of learning. You know, I've had to go out there and increase my education in all of this. You know, even though I have a marketing background, the digital space is moving all the time. So I'm continually learning. You know, I work with business coaches. I take online courses. Okay, I'm always improving my knowledge so that I can share that with you guys as well. But yeah, persistency is a big thing, because with this, what we're doing here is we're doing all of the hard work up front, yeah, to create the online course, and then we're going to sell that course again and again. So this is actually about you building a sustainable business, okay? And that doesn't happen overnight. Doesn't happen overnight. But the rewards can be huge. You know, I've got to this point now, year 3 in my business, and now I've brought 6 figures into my business in this last year. But that's come from learning, you know, not being afraid to invest in myself, seeing my business as a laboratory, embracing mistakes, learning the lessons, being consistent, being persistent. Yeah. So you have to do the work. We need to do the work. And, you know, I think, remember that there are far more yoga practitioners, okay, so yoga students in the world than there are yoga teachers. Yeah, there's more people practicing yoga than there are yoga teachers in the world. I mean, there's a lot of yoga teachers in the world, but there's more people practicing yoga. And there are billions of people in the world that can be reached, yeah, online with your unique message. Each of you here watching today has a unique message to share. So, you know, I said at the beginning, online learning is growing at an alarming rate. It really is. It's a $350 million a day industry. Okay, it's expected to increase 5 times by 2025, so in the next 5 years. So there's really a huge opportunity for all of you as yoga teachers to teach online and to impact people's lives. And so what I want to say is, like, don't be disillusioned in thinking that this works for me because this is a business course for yoga teachers. You know, my business is super niche. Yeah, not every yoga teacher wants to do this. Not every yoga teacher wants to learn this. Like, you guys are unique. You guys watching here now are entrepreneurial yoga teachers. So you are a segment, okay, in the yoga teaching space. You're a segment. So, you know, I started with 0, and you guys might be starting with 0. And, you know, I really believe that if you really believe in this and you're fully connected to your purpose like I am, and you're consistent and you're persistent, i.e. you don't give up, now you can do this too. You can get those same results and rewards. Yeah, it requires dedication, hard work, a lot of learning, consistency, being persistent. Yeah, it requires you to show up, all of these things. But ultimately, if you want to make a bigger impact in the world, which I know you do, like myself, you know, if you want to make a bigger impact, because that is why we're here, that's why we're yoga teachers, you need to keep showing up. You need to keep showing up, and there will be setbacks. It's part of it. You know, your ability to get through the setbacks is what's going to determine your success at the end of the day. Yeah. So lots of lessons there, guys. And I really hope that's helped for those of you who are, you know, considering teaching online, but not just Zoom classes. We're not just talking about Zoom classes. We're talking about an online yoga course. So last week, my training last week was about moving from your Zoom class to an online yoga course, and the mindset shifts that you need to make in order to do that. And I guess, you know, a lot of what I've shared today is kind of similar stuff, because these are the lessons that I've learned, you know, over the process in building my business. So I hope you've taken notes. Because I don't want you to make the same mistakes, okay? I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I've made. I want you to make your mistakes in your way and learn from those mistakes. And just know that that's okay. You know, we can't beat ourselves up here, because not everybody is doing this, and they're not doing this for a reason, because, you know, it is hard work. It is hard work. If it was easy, everybody would be doing this, right? So let's have a look. So any questions for me, guys, before we finish today? I've been talking for I haven't been talking for 50 minutes, 45 minutes or so, 40 minutes. So Diana says, how do you stop your classes being abused? One person signing up, but then sharing the content with lots of their friends. So yeah, I've not had that. I mean, my content is all stored in Teachable. So that's where I store my content. You know, my content is being created by me, so it has automatic copyright in that sense. And it hasn't been shared, not as far as I'm aware. But I think if you've got ultimately, if you're sending your students into a a membership portal like Teachable, where they have to have login details, you don't know if they've shared those login details with someone else. They may have. They may have done that. But the other element, and what I said about my programs, in that they also include community aspect, and that's really important. They also include accountability, so you get paired up with an accountability partner. I mean, they can't share that, can they? They can't share that. I do a lot of the live coaching sessions inside Zoom. Again, they can't really share that because I can see who's in Zoom with me. So yeah, I mean, you can do so much to protect, and definitely having using a platform such as Teachable will help that. Like, they can't, unless you allow it, unless you put the settings so that people can download things. I don't. So in with my programs, you can download the workbooks, but you can't download any of the video content. So any other questions? Any other questions for me? So Anna says, how best to price structure? Anna. So, I mean, this is a training for another day, to be honest with you, but there's no simple answer with that, because the more you understand your community, the more you understand what they want from you, only then can you decide what you're going to create for them. Yeah. So, obviously for me, MailChimp Mastery is a short course. It's on a specific thing. There's like one outcome. You're going to get yourself set up with MailChimp. You're going to master MailChimp, basically. It's $97. If you're creating something like that, then it's going to be more of a lower price. Whereas if you're creating something that's going to be a 6 month long program, and it's got loads of input from you, and there's live elements, and there's, a community aspect, then obviously you're going to price that more. So I think that's the simple answer for that one. But I mean, I could share a lot more on that. And over the weeks, guys, I'm going to be sharing tons on this topic, okay? I'm going to be sharing tons on this topic. So if you are interested in creating and launching your online yoga course, then I suggest that you mark in your calendars right away, 3 p.m. on a Wednesday, 3 p.m. UK time, to join me. If you go on the Digital Yoga Academy Facebook page, if you go on that page, go to the events page, you can see what's coming up as well. Yeah. And if you guys are on Instagram, we always post what's coming up, and you can set yourself reminders on there as well, on the stories, we do like countdowns on the stories, so that you can set a reminder so that you don't miss me. Okay. Any other questions? So thank you, everybody. Thanks for being here with me today. Couple of announcements before I finish up. So we are running a giveaway at the moment. We're running a $10,000 giveaway. We've worked with our partners. So together with our partners, we've created 3 bundles, and these are prize bundles. So there'll be 3 winners. The winners will be announced on Monday, the 13th, so next Monday. And if you guys are watching on Instagram, just go to the link in my bio and you'll be able to enter the giveaway there. And yes, Jess, my training is every Wednesday at 3 p.m. UK. So do go and check that out. Go and have a look at the prize bundles. There's some great prizes. So there's the chance to actually get a free place on the Profitable Yoga Teacher, the next enrollment, which will be next month. So enrollment opens for the Profitable Yoga Teacher in August. And there's also teacher training from Brett Larkin. There's lots of goodies, so go and take a look at it. And I think that's it from me today, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Let's have a look. Thank you so much. And let me just see what's coming up next week, so that you've got, what's coming up. So many things going on, but it's all good. We have lots of events happening actually on Facebook and on Instagram. So tomorrow we've got Rita Cox is going to be on Instagram. Rita Cox is going to be, she's one of the students inside my programs. She's going to be in the Facebook group. So you can join her today, and she's going to be sharing how to overcome challenges to establish yourself online. Next week, the training is going to be on what it actually takes to create a six-figure online yoga business. Okay, that is the topic for next week. Exciting stuff. Okay, thanks guys, thanks for being here. You guys are awesome. I'll see you guys very soon. All right, send me a message if you've got any questions, and I'll chat with you guys later. Lots of love. Bye.